This meeting is being recorded.
What's tea, y'all? I know some of you are out there right now having a hard time, having problems in your relationships, having trouble with life. Or maybe you're on social media swiping and swiping, thinking, why can't that be me? Why can't I do that? Well, I'm here to let you know that you can. This is Create Your Own Story with Terrell Garnett, where we not only help you create your own story, but we let you tell yours too. Let's get into it, y'all. That would happen, right?
I know, right?
Let's get back with another podcast. I have a special guest on today, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. And so, yeah.
Hello. What's up, everybody? My name is Shah. That's spelled S-H-A-H. Everybody swears it's Sean when I introduce myself. I am an R&B pop artist / creative director. I kind of have my hand in every pocket everywhere, but my main passion is for music and singing and songwriting. I've been doing this as a career goal for 6 years now. Some key moments in my career would be charting number 3 on iTunes R&B charts as an independent artist for my most recent single, Honest. Also getting noticed by Kehlani, and having them, show love to my voice and my content that I've created, which was really exciting. But yeah, I've been doing this and hashing it out, and it's only gone up so far, so I'm excited.
That's amazing. How did you know that you how did you know this is your passion?
You said what?
How did you know that you wanted to get into music, or how did you know that this was your calling?
So my dad was a musician, or is a musician, I guess, and I always sang and played with instruments and stuff like that, but I'd never been I want to make music until I was 16, and then I had some of my friends who had started rapping invite me to the studio because they knew I sang, and I would post videos online. And then they were like, you should try to come record something and actually make music. And I had never considered it. And then so I wrote my first song for the studio and went, and I fell in love with it. I've been doing it since. So I was 16 and now I'm 22. So
it's amazing. You're young. I felt old.
How old are you?
How old do I look? Nah, I'm 34. I just turned 34.
Definitely not guess 34.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I think when I turn 50, I'm gonna look like I'm in my 30s. So we chilling. I have.
Yeah. I was saying, and will, that's a goal. You look great.
Thank you.
But also, talk 34 is just this super crazy old number. I don't think you should look worn and tired at 34 anyway.
True. Definitely true. I mean, but I just think so much time has gone by and it was like a blur. So I say that to say that it's going to feel like a blur. I don't even remember really being in my 20s. Granted, I didn't do a lot. I think maybe that's another reason why I don't look so old. I don't smoke, I don't drink. Well, I don't smoke, rarely drink. And I don't know, I just stay out of drama. I think that's the key thing to stay. I didn't really have any high school drama. I don't really have any drama. Usually the problems that I have are not my own problems. Someone's coming to me with their problems. So I think that's the key thing, being at peace. But no, 34 isn't old. However, I feel like I have to remind myself not to be on other people's timelines. Because when you're in your 30s or whatever, people expect you because society says, or social media says, you're supposed to be doing this or that, you're supposed to live here and do this. And that is not my story. And I have to always remember that. Hence why, one of the reasons why I started the podcast, Create Your Own Story. So
exactly. Comparison is the thief of enjoy. I have to tell myself all the time, especially as an artist. You know, you look around and see what other people may be doing at your age or younger than you, and you're like, damn, like I must be a failure, or it's easy to like really make that about yourself when you want some different stuff. Like that's not you.
Exactly. So what would you say your definition of success is?
I think my definition of success is happiness. I wouldn't say it's always been happiness, but as I've, gotten closer to mm, where I want to be creatively in my creative field and things, I think happiness is like the main thing I want to prioritize. And as long as I'm like financially secure and happy, then I'm successful.
I love
And
that.
that's a basic way to answer that, but it's true. Of course, you could be like, oh, like when I'm super rich and everybody knows who I am. But I've kind of outgrown that like need to be seen, and I just kind of welcome what the universe throws at me as long as I'm doing what genuinely feels like me.
Yeah, I love. I'm currently writing an ebook, and I was in the ebook. I'm talking about success and how it's one of those things that it's different for everybody. Like what's success for me necessarily going to be success for you. The key thing that I don't put this in the book, at least not yet, but I believe that a lot of people think that money equals success or money makes you happy. In reality, it doesn't make you happy. I had this argument with my little brother the other day. Not an argument, but a discussion. And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, what makes you happy? And he's on money. I'm like, money doesn't make you happy. The things you can do with money make you happy, but money itself doesn't make you happy.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Like you have to like money in our society controls anything and everything that you want to do, anywhere you want to go. So it's easy to be unhappy without money, but the opposite of that doesn't always guarantee happiness, like you said. So
And then there's many different people that not to shade anybody, but we have like the Britney Spears or the Amanda who have had money, who have had what we call success, but look at their lives. No shade. But like it, so and it's one thing to say that a lot of times people that find success, like these celebrities that we quote unquote look up to, they're not really doing so great.
yeah, it's true. Like there's so many there's also so many issues that money, like lots of money can open up for you. Like super wealthy people also now have to deal with more things, but that's multifaceted. So there's no need for me to get into that. So my dog is being needy right now. He keeps jumping on my lap trying to get me to
What's your dog's name?
him. His name's Sage.
Love it. I love it. Are you a person? Would you say?
Am I a what person?
Pet? Like you love pets?
Yeah. This is the first time I've ever had Sage. Sit. This is the first time I've ever had my own pet. So like 100% my own. Growing up, usually have like family pets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I myself like a dog person and whatnot, but it's been really challenging raising a pet from like 8 weeks old.
Yeah.
To where they don't do anything. I think I kind of underestimated it. Like I knew it would be hard, but it'd be this difficult potty training and completely wiring another living thing's brain. So if you see me just randomly like make him like randomly yell at him, it's because he's biting my hand over here or something.
No. So a lot of the questions that I ask when I do these things, since you're really previous to it, is just to go back a little bit. I used to work in the music industry. I used to work with different artists such as K. Michelle and just other people. And I find that as new artists, it's really hard for people to one, like for you to find your voice, because let's say you're independent, then you have all your control, but then there's sometimes hard for you to get the attention from people. And then so then there's like, if you're on a label, you really don't have your voice. You got the attention and people know who you are, but you don't really have your own sound, until you get more established. Hence like Rihanna, for instance, who was doing Ponder, and then now she's in completely different, grand scheme of things. But the whole thing, I ask questions so people can get to know you as a person, not just what they see. So with that
Yeah.
being said, what do you think that what's different by the person you portray on the outside to the internet to the world than who you actually are on the inside? Is there any difference?
Yeah, there's definitely some differences. Like, I would say online, I'm more like cool guy. You know, I think I intentionally give more just like I can't think of the exact word I would want to say, but I'm goofy. I'm pretty goofy in real life. I'm also not a very like blingy blingy like shiny person like people would assume. I think from my social media, like I'm a sweatpants and hoodie and my hair in a bun and just wear my little rings and go to a coffee shop kind of person. I'm not a like stuck up bougie asshole like some people meet me like you act different than I expected you to, and I'm like, what did you think I was gonna act like? You know, so I think that's probably the only thing between internet Shaw and real life Shaw. It's just like, you know, I'm goofy and fairly humble. So
I love
I
that.
remember I had years ago I was working with this engineer, and he was like, anybody who calls themselves humble isn't actually humble. And every time I say that, it reminds me of that, of him saying that to me.
Yeah, true. No, not really true. I feel that a lot of times we see on certain things, what was this saying? There's this word, freak. Oh, it's gonna bug me. Someone used it yesterday, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I hear it all the time. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. I can't even think of the word. Pretentious. There you go. Because
Pretentious, yeah.
I'm just like, people use it, but I never even knew what it meant. So I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, like I
Yeah.
am. But a lot
So
of people, if they're the shit, or they need to be at a certain level when they really haven't done anything.
right. Yeah. A lot of people. Yeah, that's for sure.
And I know one time when I used to work in Vans many moons ago, remember the guy coming in there and he was just like, "Oh, you think you're the shit?" And I'm like, "No, I don't, but clearly you do." And I'll
Oh,
take.
exactly. A lot of times it's just projection. Like it took me a really long time to understand that. Like people being threatened by my like existence or identity or just like my presence in a space is generally stems from insecurity on their end.
No,
You know, when you're like little and your parents are like, they're jealous of you, that's why they're mean to you, and you're like, no, they're not. It's because I'm dumb. And then you grow up and you're like, wait, they
it
actually
was.
are jealous.
So what would you say life's teaching you right now?
What is life teaching me right now? Life is teaching me that I don't have to attach myself to everything. You know, I'm not what I'm going through. You know, I'm not what people around me are going through. I think it's more. I've been trying to get better, and life's trying to make me better at observing and like stepping away from what's going on and just looking things objectively instead of feeling like the world's falling in around me and falling into despair because it's really easy to do. One, just in our regulars like with our societal problems, but also just with personal issues around being a creative and insecurity with that and things like that. Life's just kind of like, bro, you need to like not be those emotions. You can't attach yourself to those emotions. You can assess them, understand them, and move from there. But yeah, I would say that's what life is teaching me right
Yeah,
now. Impatient.
it's funny. I ask everybody like these questions, and I never think about them for myself because I'm like the interviewer. But granted, a conversation. I don't want it to feel like an interview because I want you guys to feel comfortable. But like I've noticed recently for myself that I've been at a little I've gotten bad quote unquote bad seeds away from me. And it reminds me of a Michelle Williams song. But anyways, I gotten bad seeds away from me and I've been at a better like peace in my life. Maybe it's because I just turned 34. I don't know. But but I felt a little bit more at peace with certain things stuff. And I've had people more so recently in the last like 3 weeks or whatever that I've never met or just come up to me. They're like, "Oh, Dan, something about your aura, something about your presence," like, or just be like, "Dang, you're actually like really different or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, well, like, I'm like, maybe I need to lean into that a little bit more. That I'm coming into my own. And I always say I haven't even hit my prime yet. So wait on me.
Exactly. Would you say it's like you've gotten better at like boundaries, or what makes you think like when you say bad seeds, like what has separated you or
People,
caused this or
people. I have the struggle of I think my when they say like what is your biggest downfall or what's your biggest mistakes that you made, I put so much of myself into other people because I want to help them and I want to stuff, so I lose a bit of myself because I'm always trying to somebody and anything if I'm close with you, like you call me, like no matter what it is, like I'll find a way to make it happen. And I be like that for everybody. And so, yes, it is boundaries. One, and two, the people that I was so close to that I was doing these things for, like, I no longer talk to anymore. Like, I just had to cut you out of my life because you were no good for me. You were diminishing me as a person. And I didn't see it at the time until I like ended the relationships. And then I'm just focusing on myself. And I'm like, oh, I feel a lot lighter. I'm actually, this is what happy feels like. I thought I was happy before, but now what it is.
no, that seems to be a major theme. I have a couple of my close friends are also going through a moment where they're just like cutting people off, and I think I am it too. So it's just not just like snip everybody, but taking a step back and deciding like, am I actually being fulfilled by these relationships, or do I feel like obligated or like guilty about abandoning people with their like own issues? you know.
And then I look back and I'm like, well, if I don't have this person in my life, like, how am I really gonna feel? Yeah, I may feel sad because that's normal. Like when you get it, now I don't want to say attached, but when you have relationships with people, when you don't talk to them anymore, like obviously you're gonna miss people. But at the end of the day, I had to be like, well, they ain't ever done anything for me, so what am I really missing? Like it just reminds me of a line out of a Latoya Luckett song where she's saying like she fell in love so hard or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. um, and so fast or whatever and with no reason at all. And then once she's thinking of reasons to keep the relationship going, she can't think of anything because she fell for no reason at all. And that's kind of what it was. I feel that everything stems from childhood traumas, a childhood something, no matter what it is. And I think that me not having I'm getting real personal right now. Me having a father in my life made me try to give people what I didn't have.
That's real. That's real.
Let me stop talking about it.
No, it feels good to like hit those aha moments, like it because so like emotions are like there's no like book for it. And I was on FaceTime with one of my friends yesterday, and we were just talking about how like we wish we had known more about our emotions, like understood our emotions now, like or like we do now when we were younger, like when we were like 16, 17, and when you're in high school and whatnot, you wish that you had understood why you felt the way you felt more. But it's like it's a constant battle of like trying to unpack like this feeling, but you never know where it comes from. So when you finally understand why you maneuver the way you maneuver, it's just like a deep breath kind of thing.
And then a lot of times when you're like in high school and stuff, like you're trying to figure it out, but you're still going through it and you're not realizing that
you can't reflect on it because you're still going through it. So exactly.
Well, let me play one of your songs. Oh, what were you gonna say?
Let's play.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's play one.
All right. And I listen to them. And I'm going to pick Involved first. So you want to
tell you about Involved. Involved came out in November of 2020. That charted number 7 on the iTunes R&B charts. That was like a really cool moment for me at that time period. It's about feeling like someone's no good for you, but you keep going back. It's a pretty basic, song trope, and but I don't know. I love that song. There's not too much to touch on about it. Just what it's about, and what it did for me. People loved it. I still listen to it. It's off of my upcoming EP, which comes out June 9th. So look out for that. That's pretty much it.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
Take a look, Ashley.
How many times is we gon' do this? You say you changed, but it's a shame you still ain't found no ways to prove it. You acting shady, moving ruthless. How this shit turn crazy? Call me Stacy, cause I'm clueless. Is it wrong to say I still love you? Is it wrong to say I still care? Is it wrong that I'm still writing songs about you? Is it wrong that I want you in my bed? Tell me, is it wrong? Shouldn't even be involved, shouldn't even be involved, no. Shouldn't even be involved, shouldn't even be involved. Is it wrong? Shouldn't even be involved, shouldn't even be involved, no. Shouldn't even be involved, shouldn't even be involved. Is it wrong that I need you like the weekend need a Sunday? Broken promises, you got me waiting for a Sunday. I'm ignoring signs that I've been driving down the one way. We in a hard race, hit me with the pump fake. I watched that fire turn and rubble like it's Pompeii. But I never been the best to let it go. I can't leave you alone. Oh, that's why I gotta know. To say I still love you. Is it wrong to say I still
Love it, love it.
Yeah.
So what would you say? I don't know, people really don't ask this, but what would you say your favorite imperfection about yourself is?
That's a good question. My favorite imperfection about myself is that I'm a perfectionist.
Mm. And how's that helped you or hurt you?
It has helped me by stressing the details, and I think stressing the details is what has separated me from people, and that's what has catapulted, my career in a way. But at the same time, it's been a really hard thing to balance, especially because I have OCD, which ties into perfectionism. When you're an artist and just like knowing when things are done and um, giving myself grace to not be perfect. That's really, really hard. Like that's something that I'm to this day trying to get better at. It's just letting myself be human and letting myself make mistakes in front of people and make peace with embarrassment and all those kind of things. So perfectionism has helped me by making my craft more polished and clean, but it's also like stressed me the fuck out. So hopefully I'm allowed to cuss.
Oh yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I usually tell people before we do the podcast, you can cuss if you want to.
I cuss a lot. I've been trying.
No, you be yourself, bro. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm tired. I usually don't do podcasts in the morning. I wouldn't say I'm a night. Yeah, I guess I would be a night owl more than a morning person, even though I wake up every morning at 6 a.m.
I'm
But
definitely a night owl. Like 4:30 this morning.
You what? I'm sorry. You went
I'm
to
definitely not up to like 4:30 this morning.
I missed it. I wish I could, but I'd be dead. And
Yeah.
I'm just so tired this morning. I don't know. And I went to bed fairly early. I was watching. Oh, super funny. Wait, what'd you say?
I said that's that 34-year-old in you.
Yeah, no. Super. Okay, I'm gonna tell this story. The last year for my friend's birthday, and actually in May, I got her an Airbnb. We went to San Diego. I'm from California. I live right around LA. So we went to San Diego and we were like, okay, we're going to go out for the night. And we go to this club and happens to be Too Short's actually performing. I'm like, oh, snaps, this is about to be lit, you know? And 11 o'clock came around. I was ready to be in bed. I'm like, oh, it's that age. Like,
That's
and then Too Short didn't come on until like 1. When I tell you I was tired.
Damn,
Uh,
you starting your set until 1 o'clock in the morning? That is crazy.
yeah. So it was a good show though. Don't get me wrong, but my back was hurting. And I'm like, oh, I'm at that age. I just didn't know it was gonna come this soon. I feel like I got arthritis.
Mhm.
Uh,
Arthritis, yeah.
but you're an
Mm.
artist active. I'm not that active as I should be. So that's one of the contributing factors. I need to go to the gym, but I'm just like, there's not enough hours in, Beyonce's world for me to be able to do these things.
It
Uh,
really is like time management is everything, and it's
no,
hard.
it is. I've been thinking, even just this week, okay, I'm just like, oh, I wanted to take my friend out for his birthday. And I'm just like, I don't even know when I can take you out. Like, it's just so busy. And then I'm like, oh, Sunday's a perfect day. But I'm like, oh, snaps, that's Mother's Day. Can't do it then. But yeah, time management is everything. What would you say your greatest, don't hurt yourself now. What would you say your greatest strength is?
My greatest strength. These are great questions. They're good questions, but they're hard because on the spot, it's like you want to have an answer quickly, but you want to answer well at the same time. So my greatest strength. I think my work ethic is my greatest strength. Outside of just my creativity in general, I've always been somebody who, like, if I wanted something, then I found a way to get it. And I was just talking again to one of my friends about this the other day. Like when I was in elementary school, I had a lawn mowing business when I was like 8, and I would, push a lawnmower all around my side of town and make, dummy money for like an eighth grade or for like a third grader. I was like 8 years old, and I remember buying like my own Wii and my own like accessories for my Wii, and so I was just thinking back on how I've like always gotten what I wanted, and I think that that's my strength. Is just like building my way to my finish line, even if I don't know what's in between. And
I
and
feel,
I've surprised myself by doing that over and over again, so I kind of don't question it anymore.
yeah, I love that. I feel like I'm a lot of the same way. I didn't have a lawnmowing business because I don't do manual labor, but
I respect that.
I used to. So when I was in high school, you're gonna know my age. So I used to make CDs for everybody, and I'd sell them, and that's just was my thing. And then Apple and put me out of business. I used to make CDs, and that was my thing in high school. I used to sell them and everything, and then Apple came out and put me out of business.
Oh, I'm weak. Yeah, you was burning CDs for people. That's fire. That
And
was an era.
no, it really was like you get music off of like LimeWire, BearShare, and stuff.
Mhm,
Everything was easy.
mhm.
Still got songs from
Computer
music.
was fucked. Computer
Yeah.
was done for, but you had a fire ass mixtape for sure.
It's harder to find. I feel like I don't want to say it's harder to find music now. I think that artists have more control over what happens with their music now. So
Yeah.
there's more independent. There actually is independent artists. Back then, it wasn't really a thing. Everybody was signed to some type of major label or whatever. So if you got something a release, it was usually off of a mixtape and or it leaked by itself. But we're in a time, so now like you guys can put out the music the way that you want when you want. So it is an amazing thing. With the pandemic and everything, you put out some of your chart topping singles during the pandemic. How was that for you? Like, did you find it hard, challenging at all?
Outside of like people that I collaborate with, like engineer, photographer, videographer, that kind of stuff, getting COVID, not really. I really enjoyed the time to be inside. First of all, like I'm an introvert anyway. I loved I got my home workouts right. I was making smoothies, I was reading, just laying in the sunlight. It was really fun for me. But I think that actually I know that the pandemic and the way that the industry shifted around content and live performances and things like that, I think that it shifted in a direction that significantly helped independent artists because consumers got used to viewing their faves that are on these huge platforms in stripped down ways, and I think that it helped kind of bridge a gap between like you know, that you don't have to say Normani or whoever, like you can watch them on this huge TV show, or because this is going on, you're going to see this like very simple live performance. And it's like a lot of independent artists like myself kind of saw how that changed and
Yeah.
shifted, and then I made it work for me. And I don't know if that would have happened without the pandemic, because you know the industry would have just kept rolling how it was used to. So I'm grateful for it.
I totally agree with you. I personally loved the pandemic. Like I would like to say that I'm a extroverted introvert. So like I like to be outside only when I like to be outside, and depending on who I'm around. When I say outside, out in the world.
I feel that.
And but if you know, I'm still gonna make the most of whatever the situation is. But I prefer being at home. I like being at home. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to, you know, not schedule something because I'd rather be at home. Like I really have come to the space like, do I really want to hang out with you? Like, like let me weigh the like, am I going to have fun? And then I'm just like, nah, I'm not. You know, I'd rather have a better time if I just stay at home than if I go hang out with you. No shade to you at all, but you know, that's just how I feel. Or I feel like
in it.
they need my presence. So let me go out there and, you know, I feel like sometimes I'm just like, oh, you know what? They need my presence, you know, so let me just go out and give them what they need. But
that's funny. Yeah.
Really, so I think that the pandemic was definitely needed. I wouldn't have even started this podcast if it wasn't for the pandemic. I had no wants into starting a podcast. I knew at the right before the pandemic ended, I had worked in the music industry for 10 years or so, and it just I didn't get where I wanted to get. And I was just kind of over it. Like I just didn't, I don't know. Like the music industry is one of the hardest industries to be in just because of the negativity and shadiness of and it's like and it's very rare, and I say this because I've met a lot of artists, to find genuine people. And some people that you think are genuine are when you see on TV or on social media really are not.
You're like, yeah, that's real.
No, so I don't want to say it tainted my experience because I did enjoy what I did and the people that I've worked with. But I was just like, this isn't for me. And the main reason was because I was like, I don't want to be behind the scenes anymore. Like I felt like I'm done being an assistant. I'm done doing this creative directing stuff or whatever. And I think I was done, completely done. And then I had this idea to create this online magazine, which is still a fucking great idea. But it just didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. So I was like, oh, let me do this one artist, Sky, that used to be in this girl group, Sophia Fresh. And I've known her for years. And she finally did this shoot with me and my photographer. And we just got super close, great friendship. And then I started doing creative directing. So me trying to get out of the music industry actually kind of back in it. So I work with her and with music and creative directing still, but it's enjoyable because I feel more so a part of the project, like, you know, hand in hand type stuff, instead of like working for somebody. I'm working with somebody. But I never thought I would do this podcast. Never wanted to. I knew that I wanted a show, and I knew I wanted to help artists, and I didn't even realize that I'm doing what I wanted to do for the line. You know, it'd be like that sometimes. But enough about me. Let's more about you.
Pull your way into exactly what you've been asking for. Yeah.
And it happens like that sometimes. Like you don't even realize that you're doing what you've been wanting. You know,
that's another thing that I kind of learned recently is like, I don't know, sometimes what you want doesn't look the way you want it. You know, and that's like, I don't know, you have to make peace with that. And that's something that I've had to make peace with. Like, sometimes you're already doing what you want to do or where you want to at where you want to be, it just doesn't look how you thought it would.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of that, I had this conversation with my little bro the other day because with his parents, it was like drama. But anyways, that's besides the point. He was like asking for some type of help, and he's like, well, they're not helping me the way that I want them to help me, kind of thing. And I'm just like, well, you ask for help. Like sometimes when you get help from people or some people help you with certain things, it doesn't look how you want it to look,
Right.
How, like, if someone's trying to help you, and it comes to the thing that we perceive things all differently.
Exactly.
Let me get into another one of your records.
Let's hear it.
This one is actually my favorite. Change Your Mind.
Oh, okay. You like Change Your Mind the most?
I do.
That makes me feel good. That's my least favorite song that's on my project.
Really?
So yeah. But I love the song. Like it's still a good song. I just feel like I've outgrown it because it's old. So when I hear people like it, I'm like, good.
I just reminds me of the so like most artists is like either biggest songs are the ones that people like the most is the ones that they hate. Like for instance, Toni Braxton's biggest song is "Unbreak My Heart." She said she didn't like the song. She didn't even want to record it. So like it goes to show you never know.
Yeah, you really never know. And it's not about me, it's like I released it and that was like what I loved at the moment and I thought was great at the moment. But I've outgrown it, but other people will still love it. Other people still listen to my music I released when I was like 17, and they're like, I love this song. And I'm like, please don't ever play that around me, like ever.
Funny.
It's not about me anymore. Once it's gone, it's not mine. That's not mine anymore. That's for y'all to do whatever you want with.
I feel it. All right, let's get into it. Change Your Mind.
Na na na, na na na. What I gotta do? What I gotta do to change your mind? Change your sophomore in college. You know you poppin', don't need niggas cause you got your own. Whipping that 98 Honda that you work for all summer. I respect it, but let me put you on. No. Oh shit, swear you really got me over. Cause they shit you back and potent. Sippin' on your bullshit. Down to double up the dosage. You just hit it on my heart and you ain't even leaving notice. Got my attention, you been fucking up my focus. Want you to myself, so when they ask me, I don't know shit. Fuck what you heard, no, I don't know them. No. What I gotta do to change your mind? What I gotta do to change your mind? Ooh, change your mind. Change your mind. Change. I ain't tryna waste your time, no. So baby, don't waste mine. I'm in your city for the meantime. Private nigga, cause he streamline. Asking my intentions, I said, baby, what it seem like?
Yeah, let's Change Your Mind. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So just to get into so just to get into some more dialogue and make it a little more personal. Yeah, I didn't even ask you, is there anything that you don't want me to talk about? I apologize because I usually do that before we start.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I don't really have anything anything that you would feel inappropriate about, obviously don't ask me, but like I'm a pretty open book.
I know what to not ask and what to do ask. I feel like I'm a professional in that sense. But I think that mental health is a really huge thing. And since we are in Mental Health Awareness Month, I have a few questions in regards to that. So my first question being, what makes you insecure?
What makes me insecure? I think what makes me insecure are unrealistic expectations of myself. That probably would be what makes me insecure.
And put on by other people, or by other people, or put on myself?
By myself, yeah. I think I'm in the past and even now, like I make myself insecure by being too harsh on myself, you know. But yeah, I'd say that's about it. I'm not a very insecure person, so.
I'm personally not an insecure person either. I'm a very, very confident person, and I would like to think that my confidence is part of me. Like if I wasn't confident, I wouldn't be the person that I am. Right. With that being said, the one thing that makes me insecure is working out. Like I don't want to start the process because I'm insecure of how, like, but I know that I need a summer body, and what I'm right now is not it. Like I might be the freshest person in my city. I'm dressed the best. However, when this shirt comes off, it ain't that pretty. I'm, getting bones.
Yeah, I mean the gym is intimidating. Like I started my workout journey like 4 years ago, I want to say, where I started taking the gym really seriously. And it's intimidating when you like don't know what to do in the gym, because it's like anybody can get a gym membership, but then it's like, okay, if I'm in there, what do I do? Like where do I start? What do I target? How do I know my form's okay? And then you can get a personal trainer, but personal training is expensive,
Exactly.
So definitely understand the intimidation behind it, but it's kind of like a lot of other things in life, and you have to just start. And fortunately, we live in an era where we have things like YouTube and Instagram Reels and all this shit where people are online giving you all this free stuff on how to become a genius and how to become the buffest person you've ever seen. So
I'm not trying to be buff. I'm just cool with my shirt off.
Nice little tone.
Exactly. I got time. It's just I could even do some of this stuff here. Like I have things at my house, but actually, it's always once I start. Once I get to the gym, I'm good.
Yeah, no, getting there is the hardest part. That's the hardest part for me. Just starting. It's just leaving for the gym.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm not going today, but or tomorrow. I'm watching what's that movie that comes out tomorrow? Marvel's Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. I don't keep up with that stuff, but
you should.
Entertaining. It's entertaining for sure.
No, definitely. I feel like I'm more of an X-Men type of dude just because I related to racism. That's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah. How do you respond to emotional pain?
How do I respond to emotional pain? I don't know if I have an exact answer for that. I don't know. I think emotional pain is a broad term or a broad way of explaining something. Like, what are we talking about? Like what kind of emotional pain are you talking about?
Tell me. So basically, when I say emotional pain, I'm thinking of something that's happened to you, whether it hurts you or whatever it be, with a family member, a friend, a lover, or just your own self. Something didn't work out, and you're sad or hurt by something. How do you handle that? How do you deal with that? Do you deal with it?
When I'm hurt emotionally, I think my first course of action is sleep. Like usually, like I'm very much the person that just goes to sleep when I don't want to deal with something because I don't want to think about it. So usually when things upset me, I take a nap because I'm really dramatic. And if I'm upset, I'm probably just gonna be in my head and just like feel like, like the world's ending and I hate everything and blah blah blah. But if I take like a 2-hour nap, I wake up and I'm just like, nothing's as bad as I thought it was, And then like depending on what the thing that happened is, I'm usually going to reflect and like think about, my part in it and why I feel this way. And just sit down and like try to understand why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. That's the kind of like what I touched on earlier. I'm trying to get better at processing my emotions when I feel them instead of like thinking back to them later and be like, because I was too caught up in the moment to understand myself. So sleep and then an interview. a lot of times I do mirror work, like I interview myself in the mirror and
Huh.
talk to myself in the mirror about things I'm excited about, or I manifest in the mirror and look myself in the eye, and it helps make things feel even more real because I can see myself receiving them and how I would look doing it. And I do the same thing with things I'm trying to process as well as I like look at myself and talk because it for some reason helps me just get there faster. I don't really know why.
And I love that. When I don't eat, and it's not because I'm starving myself. I just don't. When something happens, I don't have an
Ooh,
appetite.
I didn't even think about that one. I definitely don't eat. Yeah. I mean, but in general, I don't eat because I was like, that doesn't even have anything to do with emotional pain.
Why don't you eat?
I I'll just be on the go and I'll be doing so much that when like food's always the last thing. Like my assistant always gets on me about it because we'll be going to a shoot at like 4 p.m. and I'm in a shitty ass mood and she's like, "Have you eaten anything today?" And I'm like, "No." So
Nah, nah.
yeah, so like not
Whenever-
eating is just like it's too easy to forget to eat. It's too easy.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, it's the first thing they say. The first meal of the day is the most important one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to eat more if I eat breakfast. I'll eat more throughout the day if I eat breakfast.
Yeah,
If I-
exactly. I remember in school I learned about that, and it was like about like waking your stomach up. Like if your stomach is gonna take longer to wake up on its own if it doesn't have to process food earlier in the day. So it's like you're gonna, yeah, even if it's something small, that's again I've tried to get better about having like at least like a granola bar or something in the morning.
they say try cranberry juice too in the morning when you
Cranberry
wake.
juice, like I'm
Yeah,
probably keeping ocean Spray in business my damn self.
no, for me too. Like that's that and that Minute Maid peach juice. Have you tried Minute Maid peach?
I don't like peaches. Yeah.
What? How do you peaches? Everybody in Georgia just got pissed off at you.
They can be pissed because I'm not budging on that. I don't like peaches. I don't like fish. Those are the two things that always freak
A fish
people out.
the pass on, but how do you not like peaches? Do you like nectarines?
I don't know if I've had a nectarine,
Oh
but
snap!
I love fruits. I love vegetables, but there's just a couple there's a couple that I just really can't fuck with. And like peaches, can't. Oh, another one that breaks people's hearts. I don't like watermelon.
Oh, I don't like
People always
water.
like, what? Okay, good. That makes me feel good because every time I tell people I don't like watermelon, they're like, what?
Yeah,
Watermelon and like cantaloupe, I think are the worst fruits.
yeah, they're very old people fruits.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Def-
giving thumbs. Like
yeah,
mushy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and especially because like watermelon, like the history of it. I'm not trying to teach y'all a history lesson or anything like that, but that was like the one thing that they gave Black people once we were free from slavery, and they gave us stuff to create crops and stuff. Watermelon was one of the things or whatever. And then they coined it to be something that was racial towards us afterwards. So stereotype
As
is,
they do.
I fall into it. I don't care for watermelon or pineapples.
Oof, love me some pineapple. That's where you lost me. I'll
Pineapple
fuck
juice, pineapple in things, yes, but by itself, I can't eat it.
I could literally eat pineapple every single day, like endlessly.
My mom, she eats it out of the can and stuff. I'm like, how?
Real, she's real.
No. um. So this question is: how do you recognize when your behavior isn't in line with your values?
These are great questions. I feel like
So tell
test.
boy because I'm a
You said
licensed. Tell people about your boy. I'm a licensed life coach as well, so my questions are made to be a little
yeah,
thought.
they're just like, what's your favorite thing? It's like you actually have to come up with a good answer for it. When do I realize my actions aren't in line with you said with my values or with my
Yeah.
goals? What was the question?
Well, the same thing. I mean, usually I would hope that your goals are aligned with your values, but like, so the question again was, do you recognize when your behavior isn't in line with your values, and what do you do?
Yeah, but I'm also like that question doesn't really hit home super well for me because I'm a hard ass about productivity. Like I'm someone who always has like a notebook and a planner and a sketchbook and calendar right in front of them. And I what gets my rocks off is productivity and like furthering my career and my like just well-being overall. So rarely do I find myself slipping up around that. Like that's unfortunately not really something that I struggle with. My values and my actions have pretty much always lined up, I like to say.
Yeah,
So it's like true.
I think for my I'm trying to think of a time. I've said some things that were very harsh or like so out of pocket. And like the crazy thing about it is some of these times I was filmed saying these things. And I back like, oh my God. And like and it be in that moment after I said it, I'm like, why did I say that? Like
There's definitely said a couple things that I wish that I wouldn't have said, but yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. That's a couple times.
say it on the podcast what I said, but there's a video and it's so funny because I said it and it's not even how I speak, so I don't even know where it came from. And I look and I'm at the camera and I'm like, and I say, why did I say that? Like, but I'm just like, let me just keep going and going. Like, let me not dwell. It happened and not dwell on it, let me just go. I have said some stuff, but for the most part, anything I say, I stand behind, and I can be. Some people call me an asshole, but at the
I don't
same
think
time,
that personally. Like, I mean, obviously you don't want to be an asshole, but there's been plenty of times where I've been called an asshole, but it's more so that just because people wanted me to do shit that I didn't want to do. And I don't think that makes me an asshole. I think people just have had like entitlement to my time and my brain. So
yeah,
sometimes you gotta and that's okay.
or sensitive too. Like, so yesterday, I was sick like all last week, and just now starting to get over my cold. But my friend, she was calling me and in the mornings, but I had my phone on do not disturb. So like one time I seen it and I'm just like, oh, she can wait. And, like Jesus ain't even handed out blessings yet, and you calling me this early, like let me just. So I didn't call her back until like yesterday. I called her back like a week later, and I'm not like that. Like if someone calls me, like either I always answer or I'll call you right back, or even with text message. I'm really like a very communicative person, and I always make sure that because I would want somebody to do that for me. So I'm going to make sure that I'm responding and everything like that. But I wasn't really talking to nobody. I was sick. I didn't feel like talking to nobody. So I called her yesterday, explained. I was like, oh yeah, my bad. I was so oh, yeah, I know that you're sick or whatever. And she's like, don't worry, I forgive you. And I'm like, oh, I'm not apologizing. I'm just like, I'm just letting you know what happened. Like, don't get it twisted. And they're like, damn, that's like asshole. I wasn't apologizing to you.
I was letting you know I'm sick. I don't feel bad.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I didn't. Sorry.
Exactly.
Congratulations. Like, what did I do? Who's congratulating me? But it's about insurance. What is one thing that you can't tolerate?
One thing I can't tolerate. There's a lot of things I can't tolerate. I'm trying to think of like what my biggest thing that I can't tolerate would be. And I don't know. It'd probably be like people being too caught up in themselves. Like I don't care who you are. I think humility is really important, and I really can't stand being around people that can't be wrong. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. But there's plenty more that I could probably name.
My biggest thing is people questioning my character. Like
Questioning.
Yeah, it just it's certain questions that someone may ask, like, oh, so and so. So I had a friend call me and was like, oh, did you tell my ex about me cheating or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
didn't know me enough to know that I wouldn't, do that.
That ain't me.
Yeah, so
Right.
you questioning my character, like you may think that I'm a low of a person for me to actually even go and do that. I'm not trying to be in nobody's drama. Like I wouldn't do something like that. I didn't think it was you. If you think it was me, then you wouldn't have hit me up. Like,
Right.
um,
You
so
would have didn't cross your mind. Yeah.
exactly. So just questioning my character, I think is one of the biggest thing for me. And it'll probably have me that'll piss me off real quick. And I don't ever usually come out. What was that?
I think that's a good one. Like people, I definitely take that personally when you expect people to like know you better than that. And you like the fact
Yeah.
that you would even, it's like,
Think that of
I
me.
take that.
Yeah. I've had like a number of things like that. I remember this episode of Love and Hip Hop, New York, where Juju was getting into it with Yandy, and she was just like, "See, that's where you're wrong." She's it wasn't that you about the question; it was that you asked me the question in the first place. And I'm like, "Bitch, I am you, and you are me." Like,
Yeah.
so I do want to get into the last song that I'm going to play, and you already know what it is. Your current.
Honest.
Uh,
Yes.
So is this your favorite song right now, or what is your favorite song off the EP, the project?
My favorite song is called Comforts.
Okay.
And it's not out, obviously. It's like a slow jam, like stripped and chopped and screwed, not stripped, chopped and screwed-ish, like sounding.
Yeah, Texas is mad at you now.
You said what?
As at first you had Georgia mad at you, now Texas is mad at you.
I know. Well, Texas are my people, so they can take that up with me. But yeah, I'll say chopped and screwed, and it's a slow, like sexy R&B song that I really like. I think it just makes me sound a lot more mature.
Okay.
Kind of see where I'm going with my brain and shit.
Why did you know that Honest was the song that you wanted to release next?
Honest just felt right. Like I felt like it had like the commercial sound to it that showed, like what I can do, because I think Change Your Mind and Involved are good songs, but they're not necessarily like commercial sounding songs. And Honest has that like warmth, it has the layering, it, has like the Y2K inspo and all that. So with the time of year and it being the last single before my project comes out, it just felt like the right thing to do.
For sure. Well, let's get into it. This is Honest. Of course, I always do this. Wrong phone. So that's why I have two phones. I'm playing the stuff on the wrong phone.
Let's drag all of his toys out right now. He's like 5 toys out now. Started.
Here's Honest.
If I'm being honest, know you're a problem and I don't care to solve it. I try to stall it, but this liquor got me calling. It got me all in, just trying to get you out the studio apartment. Because you're top 10, and no, you're not 10. You got good brain and you can hold discussion topics. On the low, don't wanna be no trending topic. Hit you when I need it, but don't treat you like an option. Only for being honest. Only if I'm, 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 only if you know, miss your shot and miss the way you do it just for me. I'm the only one to blame. No, my pocket in between us. I came to my senses now. It probably doesn't mean much. Hoping when I'm faded, baby, you've been more than patient, but I can't do the silence. You give me confidence. Yes, I just needed time to weigh out the consequence. Met me on common ground. Love ain't no competition. You got my best interest, baby. I'm being honest. Know you're a problem and I can't solve it. I try to start it, but this liquor got me.
So you're doing your good singing on that one.
I do what I can.
I feel it. I
My
feel
fault. All of that.
it. So random thought came to mind right now. So someone was gonna get shaded for this. But so someone hit me up yesterday and they were asking me if you wanted to go to a concert, or have somebody perform, who would you choose, Summer Walker or SZA? They were asking for a reason. And I said neither. Granted, I love their music. That wasn't the reason. But I'm just like, because they were going to get one of them for a show, and I'm like, Doja Cat's not available. And the reason I say this is because I feel that we don't have any stars anymore. Like, there's have like the Ashantis or the Beyoncés really anymore that are, like that are out here really performing and doing. And I love Normani, but if you notice, Normani can't dance and sing at the same time. Look at her performance. Look at her performances, not pre-recorded vocals. Whether Fifth Harmony, whatever, she always, when she sings, she stands still. She's an amazing performer. I'm not taking that away from her at all. But we don't have any like stars. And then there's like what's her name? Chloe, who I love, but I'm gonna need Chloe to put some clothes on. Because she's too much. And I think she's very super, super talented, but I don't feel like we have, like, besides Doja Cat, maybe Lizzo, like we really don't have any of this new generation of artists. There's no stars.
I have to disagree. I think that people, of course, you're a bit older than me, so you are probably more familiar with the evolution of Beyonce than other people are, but especially with being in the music industry. But I think that we're in this era where Beyonce's rightfully, put on a pedestal as far as being, the best performer alive, which I believe she is. But at the same time, Beyonce's been doing this since she was like 5 years old. She's she's had people investing in her parents investing in her, companies investing in her, and helping her curate a brand and her performances and her, Matthew had her out there running in high heels, singing and all this stuff. Like, unfortunately, not everybody has the access that Beyonce has had. And I think that we just need to give a lot of these new girls time to get there because we are in a different era. There's also Beyonce came up, and it's time, I know, but we're in a different era. It's like,
that's true.
There's a million people that can sing and dance and are pretty and photogenic and all this kind of stuff, versus back in the day, it was a lot more like handpicked, who knows how many we would have had, who knows how many ushers we would have had, who knows how many whoever's we would have had, if we were if they had come up in a different era, like of course I don't ever want to like speak ill on the queen, but it's like Beyonce is who she is because she's had so many amazing resources most of her life. So it's like Normani, Chloe, even Doja, Doja's ahead of the game. I would say Doja's doing amazing. She's a producer, she's a singer, she's a dancer, she's a rapper, she's a model, she's all these things, And she's a great example of somebody who already comes across as a star, and already has so much star appeal. But I just want to give the other girls like time to polish stuff. It's like they're not there yet. They're not 25 years in yet.
That's true. But like when because I remember when Destiny's Child came out, like I was like, oh snaps, Destiny's, like like I remember the first Destiny's Child song. It actually wasn't No No No, it was With Me. But that's besides the point. And I knew like, oh, these people are gonna be special. Like, and I just don't. I'm not saying that. I'm not taking away anything from Summer Walker or anything from SZA. I've never seen SZA live, but I've seen Summer Walker live, and I fell asleep in her concert.
I think the standard of what it takes to be like big is definitely different. Like Beyonce and older acts had to be able to sing live and dance and have like all this like media training and all this other stuff that goes into it. Now it's just like, if you're pretty and you can sing and you go viral online, and you're a star and sell out shows, but that doesn't make you a performer. That doesn't make you Beyonce. That doesn't make you Usher. That doesn't make you Michael Jackson. So I understand what you're saying. Doja's probably the only person that when you look at them, you're like, they're going to be huge. They're going to be acclaimed as like a legend, you know, and you can already see that and tell just based off of like where they're starting at. So I get what you mean.
I will say with what she said though, like the artists that we think of today that are like huge, like the Ushers, the Chris Browns or whatever, they all started when they were young. I will give you that. And they were groomed to be something that was much more. But like it's even just, I don't know, their presence. Like take their music away, just their presence. I think that the other person that probably has presence like that may be Normani. She just has something about her.
She has the it thing about her, yeah.
But like, I don't know, I just don't even want to, like, there's not, like, just recently Summer Walker has been showing her personality on like online and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, like, you know, maybe I like the girl. I will say I do love Queen Naja though. I do love her. She's very likable.
Interesting. Not
her album. She's like, she does nothing for me.
Yeah, I personally, I'm a Summer stan. I'm a SZA stan down. Like, and I don't know. I don't need. I'm also a Kehlani stan. You know, like I was one of the first. Like, and Kehlani can sing and dance and do all that stuff. You know, and I think Kehlani's one of the best performers that we have in the era. And
the problem that I have though is that I feel like this is not just a her thing. This is like a lot of artists before they were signed and there were these names, their music was better. And I feel that her music was better before she, you know, is who she is now. Granted, I haven't listened to her. I think it just came out. So I might change my response then. But her last album, like, was one of those albums, kind of like, and I'll never forget this. Winnie Houston said this, that sometimes, or maybe it was Janet Jackson, I think, actually said this, is that sometimes you actually have to sit with music sometimes before, you know, something, you're not always gonna like something instantly. So like Kalani's last album, I was just like, oh no. So then I was like, you know what, no, let me go back and give it a chance, you know? And I had to go back like 3 times. And then I'm like, oh, I found some songs that I actually really enjoyed. But I don't know. I just think that her music was better before she was signed.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, it's definitely different. Like when you listen to like her music before she was signed, she was like 20, you know, and she's like 27. So it's there, you can hear the like drastic difference between it being like heavily pop influence versus being more like experimental and more like
it definitely was way more.
Kehlani's music now feels more like medicine for her than trying to like make a hit and trying to like have the mainstream appeal. So, you know, I don't know. I think as an artist, I have tried to get better at not having opinions, but being so harsh in my opinions about how people do what they do and what they do, because of like, as much as it's a job and it's about acclaim and stuff like that, it's like can be very, very soul sucking to make it only about that. And that's something I've had to get back at. So I don't know, I've been trying to give other artists grace because we know how nasty the industry is and how selfish and just, you know, how tricky it is. So I'm just like, you know, if this is what makes you happy and this is what you want to do, I'm happy for you. You know, it's not necessarily the route that I would want to go, but if that's where you're at, then that's where you're at. And I'm happy for you.
But I do want to say, I think that SZA and Summer Walker do make amazing music. That, well, I'm not questioning their music at all. It's just the present, like, and opposite of like freaking Saweetie. I think Saweetie's a star. Her music, not so much, but her so likable. Her personality, she comes across like that. She just has that it factor. Like, I'm like, oh, she needs to go into acting or go into have a or something like that, because she's marketable. She's just you know.
Yeah, and that's what makes me like think about like what even is a star. You know, it's like a star is about, you know, it's not necessarily even about the music. Like, it is, but it's like also it's just about like mainstream appeal. You have the look, you have the personality. Do people see themselves in you? You make people laugh. Can you do brand partnerships? It's just like, I don't know what really makes a star.
Exactly. And then like Beyonce, she doesn't have the personality. Right. She may, but she doesn't show it to us.
Exactly. It's like, that's why it's just like there's no rule book this shit. You know, it's like you could be completely surprised by who ends up popping off. You're like, well, I never would have guessed that because they don't have this, and this characteristic that's worked in the past, you know, but that might be as times change and people's interests change, that might not be what people want anymore. Exactly. Like, for example, with Beyonce, it's like, who's to say, like, if Beyonce were coming up in our era, who's to say that she would be Beyonce? You know, she has all these amazing talents, but does she have the personality to be on TikTok? Like, and like her videos go viral and do that, this, and that. So it's just, there's so many factors. It's kind of just like, do whatever the fuck you want, bro. Like, just do shit, you know, and see what works. Because there's, especially the news, people gonna find you. You said that.
I don't want another Beyonce album. I want a Destiny's Child album. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Brent and I were just talking about that, like a Destiny's Child reunion tour. Can you imagine?
Time soon. Matthew still owns the rights to the name Destiny's Child, and because of that, that's why they're not doing anything. And they keep asking them all these questions or whatever, and every time you see Kelly,
he owns the rights to Destiny's Child.
What was that?
He owns the name, like the rights to the name Destiny's Child. I have no idea.
And they've all fired him, so they technically can't do a Destiny's Child album without him.
They would have to hire
exactly.
Him
well, he
to do it.
He owns Destiny's Child, so and then like Latoya and Latavia have a percentage of the name as well, but like he can't, you know, they can't really do a Destiny. Like Beyonce can have a tour and be like, oh, featuring Michelle and Kelly, or they can't
actually make it Child
because he probably that's why they haven't toured. And people ask them all the time. Well, they don't ask Beyonce at all, but they ask Kelly and Michelle, and they're like, well, we can talk about it. I said, I'm thinking now, Michelle, Kelly, as much as you get asked about, are you guys gonna come back and do another album? I'm pretty sure you have talked about it at least once. Like, don't sit there and say, y'all, that's just not what comes up. Like, I know y'all talked about it. Y'all hang out off.
They've definitely just like even just joked about it, you know, but I don't know. That also, like, they may be past that. It might be cute to do a little feature at Coachella or something, but they might just be like, that's not us anymore. You know, that's not what we want to do.
And I was having this conversation about Latoya Luckett, who I absolutely love. I feel like she was an underdog. She had a #1 album, and Matthew did his best to stop her shine. Allegedly, let me say that. But she's still here. She's still here. Her music, she has an it factor, but I don't know what it was. I think that her albums have all been good. Her songs have been good. That's not the issue. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes you just don't, you can have everything and it just doesn't resonate. So she gone into acting and stuff, and she's, you know, been doing great there. And she's just so beautiful when she has her long black hair. I don't know. Has anybody ever told you this? I don't know. I don't know how many other interviews you've had and stuff, but how you interview and everything like that, like you very much give me Maxwell vibes.
Do I? No, nobody's ever said that before.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good quality. Like, I don't know, you're very soft, if that makes sense, in a good way.
I appreciate that's definitely a compliment. What was I gonna say? I want to watch some Maxwell interviews to see if I see any like.
Please do. Let me know.
I love watching interviews. Like, it makes me better at interviewing, and I just, you know, get better at answering questions. Like I watch Tupac interviews a lot. That's one of my favorite people to watch interview. Yeah.
I watch Janet Jackson. She's had so much media training and stuff. So like I literally sit and watch her, and just how she gets out of questions. You know, so I watch it to be like, okay, so I'm not going to ask it in this way. I'll ask it in this way, because
that's what I've tried to get better at, is like avoiding certain questions, like without getting yourself in trouble. Especially with the era we're in now, I'm like, I don't want to end up getting fucking dragged online. You know, so it's like I might not even totally say what I want to say because I don't want somebody to screen record it and go viral for getting dragged on Twitter or something. You know?
No, seriously,
But Prince, I love Prince's interviews. I watch his quite a bit, just because I love his interviews because he just says exactly what he means.
He was so in he didn't care. I feel that certain people, I feel like are never going to get canceled. I don't necessarily believe in cancel culture anyway. Like, who gonna cancel
Well, me,
me?
I don't want to. I don't believe in cancel culture. I don't think that it'd be the end all be all. It's just like I wouldn't even want to go through the blip of it being like of getting dragged. You know, which like if I keep going the direction I'm going, I'm gonna end up getting dragged and canceled for something. Eventually, it's kind of like a rite of passage at this point. But I would like to prolong that and avoid like people being mean to me for as long as I possibly can. You know.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Well, but you're on the right track. You'll be fine. So what else is next for you? I know you said that your project comes out on June 9th, 10th.
June 9th, yep.
What's that project called?
The project is called Ambivalence.
And what does that mean to you? Why did you name it that?
Ambivalence means contradictory feelings towards someone or something. And at the time when starting the project and in just my personality in general, I'm a really indecisive person. I'm a Libra.
Also, you're a lot.
Not quite.
Joking.
like a Libra. No, I don't care enough about what most people think to lie to them.
That's what I always tell people. It's funny you say that. Like, you only lie to people when you really care about what they think.
Like, I have no reason to lie to you because you don't control anything that has to do with me. So, and you probably need to hear it. But I did Ambivalence because of contradiction and, around relationships and just decision making is something that I've always, been aware of about myself. Like, I'm just bad at making decisions and deciding what I'm actually feeling. So I went with that, and then I based my whole project around duality and just like back and forth. And so like the theme of the project is all black and white because it was like, and then grays, and I tried to play off of duality. And I was like, what colors would help drive that theme home? So the cover's black and white, the track list black and white, the promo photos are black and white. Very I'm Sasha Fierce,
I love it.
Yeah.
You're very creative. I can see that.
Thank you. I try. It's like I do this shit because it like is exciting for me. I don't do it for attention. It's like I do it just because it makes my chest feel all like warm, and I get giddy, and I'm like at my whiteboard just like scribbling stuff down. It just makes me feel alive.
More like that. I don't write anything down. I remember I have a really good memory, so like I can't take notes. And like sometimes when I take notes, I look back, I'm like, I can't even read my damn writing. Like,
must be. I'm weak. Now I'm fortunate to have really, really good handwriting. So like I do everything physically. Like I have like a notebook, or I have my planner.
Planner.
And I have a notebook where I write all my like to-do lists and ideas. And I also have a manifestation book where I draw all my like
love it
graphic ideas. So like everything's physical for me.
Did you ultra talented? I'm and it's funny because people say that I'm creative, but I can't I can't draw to save my life. I can't write things down. I've tried that method and it just does not work for me. I bought a whole iPad so I can do it and still don't write anything down. I've done I've done so much to get myself to do it. And it's just not something that, I usually remember things. I do have stuff in my schedule on my phone, but that's just so I don't miss a podcast or I don't miss an interview with something. But for the most part, like everything is in my head. I might screenshot or something or whatever to like, oh, I like this look. I'm gonna emulate this for when I do a photo shoot. But other than that, like I really can't. Like I mean, I don't know. I'm not creative in that type of way.
I wish that I had a good memory. That's why I take a planner everywhere with me. I've always had beef with like digital calendars, but now my schedule is starting to get so hectic that I have to have a digital calendar because sometimes like I don't always have my planner open right in front of me. Yeah. Usually I'll keep it like next to me open, like I have it on my kitchen counter, or I'll keep it next to my bed at night. That way I can just look over and see what's going on. But now I'm like starting to be on the go so much more. I have to get phone notifications or else I'll still miss stuff for the planner. But I'm so in my own little world. Like if I just depended upon my head, nobody would ever everybody would hate me because I would never be on time to anything, and I would forget everything. So
I'm never on time. That's one thing that's not gonna happen. I'm never on
I'm
time.
always 15 minutes late. Believe
No,
that.
I was the first time I was on time for everything last weekend. Oh, was that last weekend? It was either last weekend or the weekend before. No, it was the weekend before last. And my one friend, he was taking me out for my birthday, and I was like, okay, I'll pick you up. He's like, okay, and I was like, I'm gonna be on time. He's like, yeah. And I was dead on time, right at 6. And it took him time to come outside. I'm like, what took you so long? He's all like, well, you're never on time. So I just assumed that I'll get ready.
Assuming you had extra time, yeah.
And I'd be late, like 15, 20, 45 minutes. Like
45 is pushing. I'm usually like 10, the person that's like 10 or 15 minutes late.
no.
Because I have a problem with, like, leaving the house when I'm supposed to be picking people up or when I'm supposed to be there. So I'm always like a little late because
No, I tell people a time and I'm usually past it, and it's because I don't get I feel like I can get ready faster than I actually do get ready. So I wait to the last minute and then I'll put on the outfit. I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling this today. So then I gotta change. Unless I'm just going to somewhere simple and I'm just wearing sweats and I'm still happen to be late. I don't know. And you good at that. I'm a life coach. I deal with time management. I can do it for other people, but if it's a concert or something, I'm gonna be on time. Because for something, I'm gonna be there on time because I'm not wasting no. Yeah. But because of respecting other people's time. Because if someone was late for me, they're gonna hear about it. So I need to, get on that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming on and doing the podcast. I had followed you for a little while. And I was like, let me just ask and see if you would.
Yeah. I appreciate it. You'd be surprised. Like, I feel like people don't approach me super often, which, I have a pretty engaged following and I, do numbers pretty regularly. So I was just like, maybe I'm just like unapproachable or something. I don't know, but I appreciate you having me.
I think that sometimes if people see that you're engaged with certain people, they may think that they all get unnoticed, so they don't try. Yeah,
exactly. But one thing that I had to learn early on is not to tell myself no for people. That you're shooting yourself in the foot by not trying things because you think that it could be a no. You have to get no's to get yeses. So
this is very true. So yeah, I've hit up a lot of different people, and I remember one artist who's a nobody. Like, I don't even think anybody knows him. No shade to him at all. Like, he's very talented. He's like, well, how much is it gonna cost? I'm like, this is a podcast. Like, it's an interview. Like, why would I pay you to be on my show? Like,
he was saying that. Oh, he was expecting to get paid for it.
And I'm like, it's a podcast. Like, you don't.
Right, you couldn't just do it because you want to do it. You don't really.
Yeah, like it's at the end of the day, it helps both of us.
No, exactly. I don't know. That's one of those situations where he'll probably grow out of that, hopefully, and understand it at a later date when.
Yeah, I didn't even respond back. The fact that I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
you wouldn't ask Shah how much he's going, so don't ask me.
Right. No, exactly. Well, yeah, I appreciate the in-depth questions. I'm a conversation person, so stuff like this.
As you can tell, and Libra is my favorite sign. I get along. Aries and Libras get along very well, so I do appreciate you coming. What was that?
You're an Aries?
Yes, I am.
Aries. I have like 2 best friends for Aries. Yeah, you get it.
They're very, very compatible as friendships and whatever else.
Signs.
Exactly. So is there anything else that you want to tell the people where they can find you or anything that you want them to look out for?
Yeah. First and foremost, stream my new single "Honest" on all major streaming platforms, whether that be Apple Music, Spotify, Audiomack, SoundCloud, Tidal, whatever. You can find me. Search "Honest Shah." That's SHAH. You can also follow me on all my social medias at Shah from the City. That's SHAHFROMTHECITY.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for being on here. We'll have to do it again a little after the project comes out.
Yeah, let's revisit.
All right. Perfect. Well, you have a great day, and everybody, you already know where to find me.
And that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed yourself on this episode of Create Your Own Story with Terrell Garnett. We'll catch you next time.